It's Larry with 7th Stage Law School Prep and another stick figure exam tip. This one pertains to the analysis or application part in IRAC, and it's a simple concept, but it's a big shift in your thinking from being a pre-law student to actually becoming a law student and a lawyer. And the point of analysis is to see both sides very fully. I'm going to use a metaphor that's borrowed entirely from the book Ulysses by James Joyce. If you haven't read it, you need a guidebook to read it. It's a modern telling of the Odyssey by Homer, and there's a chapter-to-chapter correlation between each of the myths and something that happens in Dublin. So the chapter on the Cyclops is set in a bar in Dublin, and the two characters are, well, the main character in the book is Leopold Bloom, an Irish Jew who is being cuckolded by his Spanish-descended wife, Molly Bloom. He, throughout the book, is someone who he's a weird dude, but he's capable of balanced thinking. He's always able to see the other side of a problem, the way somebody else looks at it. But in this chapter in particular, his binocular vision is emphasized. This dude, however, is the stand-in for the Cyclops, and he can only see things from one perspective. You're either an Irishman or you're a Jew. And so he actually puts that question directly to Bloom. Can you really be both? And he's totally hostile to him the whole time. You can't see his perspective well. Even in this interaction, Bloom is able to see the nationalist's perspective. So I love this. The allegory follows the Cyclops chapter from the Odyssey so much that at the end, the Irish nationalist, instead of throwing a boulder, throws a tin of empty biscuits at Bloom as he leaves the bar. So here's the difference. Both characters are a different facet of you when you're a lawyer. As an advocate, you need to be the Cyclops. You only see things from your client's point of view. You're only advancing your client's interests in court. You're making aggressive arguments. You're kind of downplaying the other side. But you kind of already have this in you before law school, I think, to a great extent. A lot of people who go to law school stupidly say they went because they're great arguers. Well, big deal. But it is important ultimately, and often rare times, that you're actually in court. But that's one part of life. This is not the hat that you wear when you're with a client. With a client, you need to be objective and capable of binocular vision. You see both sides. You see the merits of the legal arguments, the claims and defenses of your client, and the merits of the claims and defenses of your opponent. And you can counsel your client. What would really happen if you brought this to court? Really objective terms. What are the good arguments that the other side is making? When do you need to settle? To be the counselor, the client facing you need to be Leopold Bloom. And an issue spotting exam is a lot like being this counselor, Leopold Bloom. You're being asked in a very direct way by your professor to provide an objective analysis of the fact pattern, the claims and defenses that will come up. And it's particularly in the analysis part of IRAC for any given claim or defense that you are both sides. Now, I've kind of made Leopold Bloom appear to be milquetoast. He's a weird dude. He touches himself in staring at a young girl who has a bit of a limp. In the Nausicaa chapter, it's strange. But just because he can kind of calmly see both sides, it does not mean that what is going on in here is placid. The arguments made by both sides are very vigorous. Both lawyers are taking their responsibility to be zealous advocates. The Cyclops, seriously. So you can see two little Cyclopses here fighting, but he can take all of that in and is capable of seeing both sides of the problem. But in the end, this is what you need to be in facing an issue spotting exam.